Hi everyone, this is Stella and welcome to Stella Music Theory. Today we are going to go over some exercises from Chapter 1 in the Grade 1 Discovering Music Theory Workbook. Let's get started. Since this is the first lesson, we're going to start with the basics, rhythm and pitch. We are going to start by exploring two very important elements of music, rhythm and pitch. So what is rhythm? Rhythm describes how notes of different durations or length or time values are organized over time. And a pulse is a steady beat, kind of like our heartbeat. It provides a framework on which rhythms are built. Pulse is actually what we move along with or tap along with when we listen to music sometimes. So for example here, we can see 8 hearts or 8 heartbeats. So this is, you think pop, 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 pop. That will be steady beat. The pulse is organized into groups of counts. These counts are known as beats. Here, the pulse is arranged into groups of 4 beats. So we have ping, boom, 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 ping, boom, 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 like that. And if you actually count the beat, you will count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. See that the beat 1 is shown by a darkened heartbeat here and here, because beat 1 is the strongest beat in music and is the most important beat. A time value shows how many counts a note lasts. Here are 3 common time values. Number 1, we have the semi-brief, which looks like an oval and is worth 4 counts. The second one is a minim. Minim looks like a semi-brief with a vertical line. We call that vertical line a stem in music and is worth 2 counts. The last one is a crotchet. Crotchet looks like a minim but is shaded in black, so it's worth 1 count. Minims and crotchets are made up of a vertical line called a stem joined to a note head. Semi-briefs have a note head but no stem. So basically all kind of note have a note head. So this is a note head. Sometimes it's filled in black like this. And when you add a vertical line to it, that vertical line is called a stem. So this is the note head. This is the stem. And sometimes you will see this, which we call a tail or a flag. So most notes have both the note head and the stem. Semi-brief is the note that has only the note head and no stem. Next, we're going to talk about pitch. So what is pitch? Pitch describes how high or low a note sounds. To show pitches, we place notes on a staff. So these 5 lines here are called staff. Notes can be placed on every line and in every space of the staff. Each line and each space represents a different pitch. So let's say if I put a note here, we'll say this note is in the first space. There are 4 spaces. The bottom space is space number 1. Going up is space number 2, space number 3, and space number 4. Same thing for the line. If I put a note here, this will be line 1. You can also put a note on line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5, and so on. The higher the note is placed on the staff, the higher the pitch. So let's say if we have a note here, this will be the highest note. Take a look at this here. This note here, which is below the staff, is the lowest note. And this note here, that is above the top line of the staff, will be the highest note on the staff. All pitches are given a letter name between A and G in the alphabet. So we will be using the first 7 English alphabet in music, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So after G, you will just go back to A and start again. It goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. Chapter 1 is Rhythm, Part 1. In this chapter, we'll learn about time values, which are notes, bars and meter, as well as time signatures. Time values. Time values show how many counts a note lasts. We are going to meet the 4 most common time values. They are on the right side here in the chart. The first one is semi-brief. Semi-brief just has a note head. This oval here, we call it a note head. And if we add a vertical line next to it, we call it a stem. Not all the notes have a stem. Most of them do, but not the semi-brief. And some notes has a tail. Now first we have to shade the note first because the notes with the tails are all black. So here if you add this, we can call this a tail or a flag. So semi-brief has only the note head and it is worth 4 counts, meaning you're going to play the note and then you will hold on to it for 1, 2, 3, 4 counts. Now on the right side here, we see some hearts. The reason why we use hearts here to represent the counts is because the count is also referred to the pulse of the music. And we know the pulse is the same as our heartbeat. So it beats as a steady beat. The second note we're going to meet is the minim. And minim is just a semi-brief with a stem. Minim is worth 2 counts, meaning you will play the note and you will hold on to it for 1, 2 counts. And we use 2 hearts to represent 2 counts. The next one is the crotchet. Crotchet looks very much like a minim, except that it's shaded in black. And it's worth 1 count, so just press on the note, count 1, and that's it. And we use 1 heart to represent it. The last note value we're going to meet is quaver. The quaver is a crotchet with a tail or flag, and it's worth half a count, and we use half a heart to represent it. Now in music, we try to group the notes together so then it becomes a whole number. A quaver is only half a count, so usually quavers go in pair like this. You see there are 2 quavers here, and because each of them has a tail, we usually group them together, or we call it beaming them together with a line. So this line up here, we call it a beam. Since 2 quavers make 1 crotchet, they always go in pair. Let's take a look at exercise 1 together. There's a chart there, and there are 3 columns. On the left side here, it says name of note. In the middle, it says looks like. And on the right side, it says how many counts. So they give us some clue here and there, so then we can fill up the rest of the chart. Let's start with the first row here. They have given us the name of the note, which is a semi-brief. And a semi-brief looks just like an oval, so we're going to put an oval here. And it's worth 4 counts, which is given already. Next row, name of note is missing. But under looks like, we see that this is a minim. So we're going to put in minim. How many counts are there in the minim? The answer is 2. So next row, under name of note, it says crotchet. And crotchet looks just like a minim, but it's shaded. So we're going to shade the note head here. And we are going to add the stem on the right side. Crotchet is worth 1 count, so we're going to put 1 here. And the last row, name of note is missing. And looks like it's missing as well. But it tells us it's half a count. Half a count would be quaver. So we're going to write quaver here. And it looks like a crotchet, which is shaded with a stem and a tail. Exercise 2. Circle the correct answer for each question. Question A, which of these notes has the shortest duration? So here we have a minim, which is worth 2 counts. We have a quaver that is worth half a count. And we have a crotchet that is worth 1 count. So quaver has the shortest duration, and we're going to circle it. Question B, which of these notes has the longest duration? Here we have a semi-brief, which is worth 4 counts. We have a minim, which is worth 2 counts. And we have a quaver, which is worth half a count. So the note with the longest duration would be the semi-brief. So we're going to circle this. Next, question C. Which of these lasts longer than a minim? So longer than a minim. Now, first of all, we need to know what a minim is. This is a minim. The minim is worth 2 counts. So our choices are crotchet, which is 1 count, quaver, which is half a count, and semi-brief, which is 4 counts. So the answer would be semi-brief. Question D, how many counts is this worth? So let's see what we have here. Now we have 2 quavers here. If you remember, each quaver has a tail. So when we have 2 of them together, we join them up with a beam. So basically here we have a half plus a half, which is 1. So the answer would be 1 count. Question E. How many counts is this worth? So let's say, the box it up first. Here we have a minim, which is 2 counts, plus the crotchet, which is 1 count. So together it will be 3 counts. Next, let's turn to page 3 and look at exercise 3 together. Exercise 3. Answer each musical sum with 1 note. So let's start with the smart tip. At the top of the chart here, we have a semi-brief, which is worth 4 counts. And we can split a semi-brief into 2 equal halves. Each half would be a minim. Minim would be 2 counts each. And each minim can be split into 2 crotchets. Each crotchet would be 1 beat or 1 count. And each crotchet can be split into 2 quavers. Each quaver would be half a count. So this chart shows the relationship between the semi-brief, minim, crotchet, and quaver. We can see that in one semi-brief, there are 2 minims, 4 crotchets, and 8 quavers. And in a minim, there are 2 crotchets and 4 quavers. And in a crotchet, there are 2 quavers. Now with that in mind, we're going to do the exercise together. Let's start with question A. Here we have a crotchet plus a crotchet. A crotchet is 1 beat, so 1 plus 1 equals to 2. We cannot put in 2 because they ask us to use a musical note as an answer. So 2 can be shown as a minim. Question B, here we have a minim which is 2 beats plus another minim which is also 2 beats. So 2 plus 2 equals to 4. 4 would be a semi-brief. Question C, here we have a quaver which is half a count plus another quaver which is another half. So together we have 1. It can be shown by a crotchet. Question D, here we have a minim which is worth 2 counts plus a crotchet which is 1 and another crotchet which is 1 beat. So together 2 plus 1 equals to 4. So again, we're going to use a semi-brief to represent a 4. Question E, here we have a quaver which is half a count plus another quaver which is another half plus a crotchet. So here we have half plus a half plus 1 equals to 2. I'm going to write it on this side. And we can use a minim to represent the answer. Question F here, we have a pair of quavers. Now we know that a pair of quavers is the same as 1 or crotchet plus another crotchet which is another 1 plus a minim which is 2. So we have 1 plus 1 plus 2 equals to 4. So we can use a semi-brief to represent the answer. Question G, here we have a pair of quavers which is the same as 1 count plus another pair of quavers which is also 1. So 1 plus 1 equals to 2, and we can use a minim here to show the answer. Now pay attention to question H and I. Look at the smart tip here. It says watch out for the subtraction sums in H and I. So question H and I, they are subtraction questions, not addition questions. So question H, we have a minim, which is 2 counts, minus a pair of quavers, which is 1. So 2 minus 1 equals to 1, and the answer would be a crotchet. Question I, we have a crotchet here, which is 1, minus a quaver, which is a half. So the answer would be a half. We can use a quaver here to show the answer. So that's all the exercises we're going to go over today. I hope you find them useful. If you like my videos, do subscribe to my channel so then you are not going to miss any upcoming tutorials. See you next time.